Let's have a look at the business news now for you on the programme. And stock markets, they're kind of recovering actually after last week's rout, even though the spread of the new coronavirus continues right around the world. Jukka Royer is joining me here on set. She's got all the numbers for us, Jukka.
Well, Stuart, last week the usual mechanism of bargain hunting didn't kick in, and there seems to be just no end to that downward spiral. But at the start of a new trading week, Asian shares mostly bounced back. This after the head of Japan's central bank issued an emergency statement pledging it would take necessary steps to stabilize markets. The highly unusual step taken by Haruhito Kuroda followed a similar statement by the US Federal Reserve's chair, Jerome Powell, on Friday. The move added to rising expectations that central banks around the world were preparing to take coordinated action to respond to the coronavirus crisis. Now let's look at the figures then. Asian markets, as I said, mostly rebounding. Tokyo's Nikkei up almost 1% after the announcement from BAJ's Kuroda. The Shanghai Composite up more than 3%. Australian shares, though, on the other hand, extended losses from last week as the number of coronavirus cases in the country mounted with at least one fatality. There's rising concern that the epidemic will add to Australia's already slumping economy. Now, last week was the worst since the financial crisis for investors, with $5 trillion wiped off global stock markets. In just a few days, Wall Street stocks fell from record high levels into what's known as correction territory, a drop of more than 10%. The Dow suffered one of its biggest weekly drops in history, losing 12%. That's not far off from market crashes experienced after the September 11 attacks in 2001 or the 1987 Black Monday. Back in 2008, though, the benchmark tumbled 18% in 1 week. Earlier on our program, market analyst Stephen Innes at AxiTrader gave his take on what investors are hoping to see from global financial policymakers going forward.
Yeah, I think the monetary policy taps are going to turn on. I think that's the first level of defense. I think what really is needed is more of a concerted effort from governments also to come through with the fiscal stimulus. We've seen that happen in Asia. We've seen it happen in Singapore. We've seen it happen in Malaysia. And of course in Hong Kong, where they actually put money in people's bank accounts, was a very good measure, really boosted confidence. We've been disappointed in the past by Europe, but we've also been disappointed in the past by other countries. So I'm not as optimistic on that front, but at least we've got our fingers crossed that some fiscal policy may happen.
Oil prices also bounced back this Monday from last week's 4-year lows. International benchmark WTI and the Brent crude both up by more than 2.5%. This as several OPEC members, including Saudi Arabia, have suggested they might decide on deeper cuts than previously expected to respond to falling demand caused by slower manufacturing activity and supply disruptions due to the ongoing coronavirus outbreak. The Oil Producers Club plus Russia are expected to meet on Thursday in Vienna as their current supply cut deal is coming to an end this month. Here in France, the government has been meeting with union leaders. This time, though, not about its controversial pension reform, but about the measures companies should take to halt the spread of COVID-19. Claire Roche takes a closer look at the precautions employers and employees are taking in the workplace.
It's become a must at this Paris office building, sanitizing one's hands upon entry. A precaution taken by this tech company to stop the new coronavirus from spreading, as is working from home. This software developer is in quarantine after visiting Milan. Other French companies are taking things a step further. This optician has barred his 20 employees from going on business trips in areas affected by the virus.
We're on standby. Our plane tickets and other bookings are too. We're waiting to see when we can travel again.
A measure that's also been adopted by France's economic heavyweights, Société Générale, Total, Danone, and L'Oréal. In the public sector, national rail operator SNCF is particularly vulnerable to the outbreak. The coronavirus comes on top of massive losses due to public transport strikes in December, a whopping 800 million euros in net losses for 2019. Despite being tens of billions of euros in debt, SNCF says its priority is to keep services running.
We've provided ticket inspectors with masks so that they can protect themselves and also give them to passengers showing potential symptoms. If a passenger is symptomatic, we'll take down every surrounding passenger's name so as to help manage this crisis.
SNCF is focusing its prevention efforts near the Italian border.
We have yet to see the disinfectant gel in this workplace.
Oh, no, they put it up over the weekend.
They have?
Yes, it's all
At the
been put up
entrances?
over the weekend, yeah, all over the place. Little
How to
canisters
use
on
that.
the wall.
To use that.
Yeah, exactly. I've spotted them. Thank you, Yuka Roy, there with the business on France 24.